Great to be here. Thanks for having me. So indeed, my name is Sammeli Sammalkorpi, CEO, co-founder of Sievo. Sievo provides procurement analytics software, but today I'm more discussing about how data and analytics will influence how we drive decisions and actions in procurement, and also the crucial role I believe category strategies have in doing that. But let me start by introducing myself. So my name is Sammeli, and probably you don't know, but in Finland the name Sammeli is associated with certain occupation. So when I was born in northern Finland, in Lapland, my parents had a very specific idea what I should become as I grow up. So they gave me the name Sammeli, which is associated with reindeer farming. So here you see actually myself at the age of, 7, in the traditional Sami costume, and my parents had this vision, this guy will be a reindeer farmer. But you see, I look very unhappy with that perspective. So I was not happy with the reindeer farming future. Instead, I did enjoy creating my own games with computers and so forth, and that's one of the things that led into software. Then I was a procurement consultant later on, procurement software, consulting, you put that together, procurement analytics, SaaS, it what becomes. So I'm not in reindeer farming conference, unfortunately. I don't need to repeat this. I don't need to really re-explain this to you. I think earlier today we heard many times. In past, procurement was all about cost reductions, and I still do believe driving cost reductions, helping companies to be cost competitive is a crucial sort of ask for procurement functions, and I don't think we will get away from that, and I don't think we should even try to get away from that. At the same time, there's drastically increasing number of requirements or opportunities that procurement has to deliver value around supplier innovation, supplier risk, supplier diversity, sustainability, carbon, supply chain risk, and so forth. So obviously, for us as procurement, this is a great opportunity to drive more value, more meaningful aspects of value, but also to be recognized for a wider set of value that we can provide. So if Sievo was established 20 years ago, and then procurement was about, 60 to 80% of all costs of large enterprises are procurement related, and that's what we should influence. This still holds true. But as of today, when I discuss with our customers and their CPOs, procurement leaders, there's increasing recognition that 60 to 80% of everything is procurement related. Large enterprises set carbon zero targets just to realize that most of that carbon footprint is in supply chain. The geopolitical events, the earthquakes and so forth have made us realize that kind of functioning supply chains are not a given, but we as procurement function need to design and manage resilient supply chains. And also, one of the priorities that was quite high up nowadays is how can procurement drive growth, and a lot of innovation that companies can drive are also embedded in the supply chain. So more opportunities, more requirements, but not awfully a lot of more resources. So I think the question is that when we have this more complex value set that we need to drive, but we don't have awfully a lot of more resources, how can we as procurement kind of grab this opportunity with the limited resources that we have? And obviously the answer will be a lot about data and AI, but let me deep dive into this. Data is the new oil. You've all here heard this. Data is, as of today, the most valuable asset on the planet. Data is more valuable than the oil. If you ask AI to create a picture of rich, happy Norwegian style of digital art, so this is what you get. Any Norwegians in the room? Yes, great. So here we have a rich, happy Norwegian. But nowadays, the good news is that oil is not anymore the most valuable asset. Data is the most valuable asset. So who are the Norwegians of the data era? And it's procurement. When you think about that, there's really two interfaces between company and outside ecosystem. At one hand side, you have sales and marketing who face the customers and ultimately the consumers. And on the other hand side, you have the procurement who's interfacing with the upstream ecosystem, suppliers, market intelligence, innovations, regulation landscape, and so forth. And I really believe we as procurement should see ourselves, yes, as drivers of value, but actually as a data interface between company and the upstream ecosystem. And if you believe that data is the new oil, if you believe procurement is the key interface between company and upstream ecosystem data-wise, the companies who have the capability to capture and process this upstream data for procurement's benefit, but as discussed earlier today, also to translate that to business language and integrate that information into business decision making will be the ones who will be driving a lot of value. And I do believe at large scale procurement really is not that good in this. If you think of the downstream ecosystem, how good is our sales and marketing capturing data from the downstream ecosystem, but also communicating at scale with the downstream ecosystem? It's massive. We all get all of these automated marketing emails because marketing and sales has automated this process of capturing and processing data. But for us as procurement, it's still very much manual. And I think this is the great opportunity for procurement to actually make a difference. This is a great opportunity for you to create a competitive advantage. But how to do it? And it starts with data. And for me, making sense out of data, I use this 2x2 matrix. Ex-consultant, you need to have 2x2. You have structured data, that's all the data that fits your Excels and databases. Unstructured data, emails, contract documents and so forth. Internal data, data you own in your systems. External data you can acquire and purchase. I've been in procurement analytics business 20 years, and initially it was all about this. How do we capture structured internal data, purchase orders, invoices, so forth? And when you are operating large corporations to scale, even this is a challenge. In the last 5 years, on top right-hand corner, you have companies like Beroe who provide you the external structured data. On bottom left-hand side, you have the contracts and so forth, and bottom right-hand side, the basically full internet. In the past, analytics was able to process only this one. You could only do analytics if it's in top left-hand corner. Now what has happened with LLMs, suddenly all external unstructured data can be processed by machines. And of course, what you need to do and what you can do is to also process everything on the left-hand side by machines. And suddenly, in the past, we could only, at scale, analyze and process this part, which is like 1% of data required for decision making. Now suddenly we can process all of this, and that will change the way we do procurement decisions and drive actions drastically. It also means that previously we thought a human-to-human meeting is the best meeting because that gives us the bandwidth and so forth. That's the worst meeting because it's the only kind of meeting that doesn't leave you with digital footprint. If you have a Teams meeting with the supplier, you can transcribe it, you can use it for decision making. If you have human-to-human meeting, you don't have that. So we need to rethink what is data and how we can leverage this. And what this means really for procurement decision making. Now I'm a CEO, co-founder of analytics company, but analytics drives zero value. Absolutely no value. You need to drive actions. Before actions you have decisions. And of course over the years we've created different kinds of tools to try to narrow this gap. But before, we could only process 1%, the top left-hand corner of the data, which meant that we had to have humans in the decision making. But now that we can process that entire data space, we can provide decision support and ultimately decision automation as well. And I believe this will fundamentally change procurement decision making. We can close the data to action gap. And whenever I say this, people are like, nah, I tried ChatGPT, it gave a wrong answer, and it's so easy to laugh when the AI makes the mistake. But I think that fundamentally sort of focuses on the wrong question. The automated decision making is vastly different. First of all, if you take an average guy like me, I can do one decision per day. This morning I was spending 15 minutes whether I should have black glasses or white glasses. It was a great decision. But I know. But if you look at the automated decision making, it can make 1 million decisions per day, which means that the cost per decision will go drastically down. And of course, there's an uptime question. Tonight I'll be drinking, I will not be answering supplier emails, but the automated machine can do that as well. So it's not about decision making quality, it's completely different kind of method for making decisions. And it actually means that what kind of decisions we are making will change. As humans, we focus on the high-value decisions that are relatively easy to decide and implement. All ABC strategies for suppliers and so forth have been done to focus on the strategic opportunities, strategic suppliers, strategic categories. That will change. Yes, in some cases, automated decision-making will replace humans. Whenever something can be automated, it will be automated. But the real value of automated decision-making isn't the boring long tail of decisions of categories of suppliers. It's the decisions that you are not doing today because there's no business case. The whole stuff that we need to consolidate suppliers has been because it's just expensive to onboard, maintain, communicate with supplier. But suddenly, if that decision-making cost goes to zero, you can have as long tail of suppliers as you want, because suddenly there's no cost. Much more optimized way of managing the business. And there's a specific case of time. You know this US Army, US Navy carrier ships where the fighter just land and take up. If you shoot one missile on such a carrier ship, it'll be human-machine collaboration. But if you shoot 100 missiles, don't do it, I don't recommend, but if you shoot 100 missiles, it'll go on full autopilot because that's the only way to react in such a kind of fast environment. So when next time there's an earthquake and you need to find alternative supplies or whatever, do you rely on manual stuff or do you go autopilot? Because the autopilot will react to news when you are sleeping, figures out that there's an alternative supplier for this kind of material that you are buying from that specific supplier that is impacted. It can place the POs to alternative supplier and the competition just wakes up and you've already secured the supply. So it's these urgent situations as well. Which also means, this is Sievo UI, which also means that Sievo UI of this top-down human intervention is going away, and more the role of analytics is to provide these insights based on internal data, based on external data, and then let people to act on the insights, but also in certain scenarios, automate the decision-making. The question you need to ask yourselves is, what are the decisions that you are not making today that you could automate? If you would have 10,000 people back office, free of charge, working on supplier communication, actions, and so forth, what would you do? What are the decisions that you are not automating? Data-driven procurement is not about better decisions. It's not the decision quality stuff. It's about a massive amount of more decisions. Think 1,000 times more decisions that you can execute with the same resources. And this is where the category strategies come into play. There's a big risk that if you have 1,000 times more decisions run by an AI, they'll be going to all kinds of directions. The wider procurement mandate, as we've learned today, means that there's more variables to optimize for. Do you go for cost, for the risk, for the delivery performance, for the sustainability, diversity, so forth? There's so many things that you could optimize or sub-optimize for. And then at the same time, if you get 1,000 times more decisions, there's 1,000 times more optimization points as well. When it's a human-led decisions, these category strategies are in our heads and we can adjust them as we go. But if you want to automate the system, you somehow need to guide the system. You need to tell the system what to do. So I believe we are entering a very different procurement decision-making era, which means that we also need more explicit category strategies to guide the actions, the automated actions that we are taking. So how are the category strategies and data analytics linked? I do believe data analytics, internal and external, must inform category strategies. But ultimately, I think this is where we are heading. We need more actions. Data and analytics can trigger 1,000 times more actions. But then you need the guidance. And the guidance, as you guess, is the category strategies. It makes sure that our actions are aligned, they go to a certain direction. And this is where I do believe data analytics and category strategies also kind of agree. I also had to do my AI picture. So this is the current procurement decision making, very few arrows, a lot of paper. If you get 1,000 times more actions, but without any alignment, you are going to all sort of direction, but then the beautiful future is here, where you have Cirtuo and Sievo, and everything is aligned, and it goes the same direction, and that's where we are heading. Thank you, but last couple slides on Sievo. What we do, as you've probably understood, we extract data from your internal systems, we connect to external systems like Beroe. I made the Beroe logo very big and shiny here. But then also, we process more than 2% of global GDP, which enables us to use that data to create insights, to create benchmarks and so forth. We provide the insights and then it's your focus to deliver results. Our customers love us, they never leave us, which is great. And we are the #1 procurement technology in the world. But what if Sammeli thinks, would the reindeer farming have been a better option? What is the total revenue of reindeer farming industry today? Well, can't answer because he has the market intelligence data also on this one, but anybody else? What is the total revenue of reindeer farming industry in Finland? Sorry? 5? 5 billion. Best guess this far. Any other guesses? 100 million. Any other guesses? 2 million. Now we have scale. Now we have scale. Let's see. I'm very proud I could make these animations where you get kind of one chart. This is Sievo revenue over time. It's nice hockey stick. Getting nice hockey stick in Excel is easy. You just drag down. Getting nice hockey stick in reality is more challenging. But now the next bar will be about total reindeer farming industry revenue in Finland. But the good news, we didn't make it yet. Good news is that the reindeer farming industry is on linear increase. We are exponential. So if my math holds true in 25, Sievo revenue will exceed the Finnish reindeer farming revenue, and then I can go back to my parents and say, at least financially, this was better than reindeer farming. Thank you.